You think you own what you buy? No. The truth is, you're likely being owned piece by piece by the very things you thought were yours. That car you drive, the watch on your wrist, the shoes you flaunt, they're not serving you. They're dictating how you live, how you behave, even how you see yourself in the mirror. You think you're living with purpose, but in reality, you're chasing validation from people who never truly cared. In this video, I'll break down exactly how material things are silently manipulating you, and more importantly, how to reclaim the control over your life that you gave away with your very first swipe. If you've got the guts to face the truth, keep watching. You don't own what you buy, it owns you. Sounds ridiculous? It's not. It's the raw truth that most modern men are too scared to look at. You grind for a month to buy a luxury car thinking it'll earn you respect. But the real cost isn't just the money, it's your time, your energy, your freedom. And then the cycle continues. Make more, spend more, go deeper into debt, all to keep up an image you're terrified of losing. You're living in a world where a man's value is measured by the logo on his shirt, the car in his garage, or the brand of his watch. But here's the problem. If your value depends on what you own, then when you lose it, you're nothing. If you feel the positive energy, don't forget to like this video and share a meaningful comment. A strong man doesn't need to flex. He doesn't buy to impress, he buys to function. Not for ego, but for actual living. The weak ones hide behind their shiny masks, scared someone might see how empty they are underneath. And here's the painful paradox. The less money people have, the more they feel the need to show off. They buy $300 sneakers to walk to the bus stop. They carry the latest iPhone, but don't have $500 in an emergency fund. They call it self-care. I call it self-deception. Want to break the cycle? Start by pausing before every purchase and ask, am I buying this because I truly need it, or because I'm scared of being judged? If the answer is the second, put it down. You don't need that thing. You need self-control. And self-control, that's the real definition of a man worth respecting. There's a phrase the masses love to repeat every time they pull out their wallets for something beyond their means. I deserve it. Sounds reasonable, right? You've worked all month, all year, dealt with pressure from every angle. So why not reward yourself with something a little pricey? A luxury vacation, a legacy watch, a brand new car, or at least a couple of designer pieces to post on social media with the caption, work hard, play hard. But here's what no one tells you. That so-called reward is quietly killing you. Not because spending is inherently wrong, but because of why you're spending. You're not buying to meet a need, you're buying to numb the pain. Stressed? Go shopping. Lonely? Order something online. Failed at something? I need to be kind to myself. But at its core, that's not self-love. It's escapism. It's how someone hides from the truth. You don't deserve that thing. You deserve a life you're in control of. And to get that, you don't need rewards. You need discipline. That sweet feeling of, I deserve this, is a well-packaged lie, spoon-fed to you daily by advertising, media, and pop culture. It turns you into a puppet. You think you're deciding, but you're being played. You're spending money to buy a feeling of success, when real success is the ability to control that very urge. I've met men who stepped out of sports cars, polished Italian shoes, smelling like a cologne ad, but the moment they talked, all you could hear was pressure and emptiness. They weren't free. They were prisoners of an image they built to make others believe, and eventually, they had to believe it themselves, because otherwise, they'd collapse. The more they treated themselves, the more they were trapped. The more they tried to prove they were worth it, the more dependent they became on momentary emotional fixes. The solution? It's not sexy, but it's real. Stop treating, start training. Every time you feel like spending to feel better, do the opposite. Work out, read, meditate. Do something that pushes you forward instead of dragging you backward just to soothe the craving. It won't give you that instant rush, but when you look back, you'll feel pride. And that is the real reward. When a man buys an expensive watch, the real question isn't, does he own the watch? It's, when did the watch start defining him? It's terrifying to look back and realize that most of us don't own anything. we're being owned by the very things we purchase. You don't buy a car just to get around. You buy it so people will look at you differently. You don't buy the suit just to look sharp. You buy it to convince yourself you're important. Every item you put on your body stops being a tool. It becomes a statement of a fragile ego craving validation. This is the worst kind of slavery, the kind where you don't even know you're shackled. That shirt isn't just fabric. That car isn't just metal. That phone isn't just a device. They've become masks. And the tragedy begins when you can't walk out of the house without them. You lose confidence if your phone is older than your friends. You feel ashamed in shoes that aren't name brand. You feel small when someone else has a bigger house, a fancier car, a gold-plated watch, even though you have no idea how empty they might be inside. True ownership is when you can lose something and still not lose yourself. But if losing a possession makes you feel worthless, empty, or broken, you never owned it. It owned you. It's the one shaping your identity. I once watched a friend collapse on a street curb after getting his designer bag stolen. Not because of the price, but because he said, "Now I've got nothing left to show for myself." That line hit hard because it exposed a brutal truth. Too many men today aren't living to build themselves. They're living to protect the image they accidentally created. Stoic philosophy doesn't teach you to hate material things. It teaches you to control them. Marcus Aurelius said, "Do not let your soul be tied to anything that can be taken from you." Enjoy what you have, as long as it doesn't control how you feel about who you are. Want to know if you're a master or a slave? Try living 1 week without showing off, without shopping, without competing. If you feel lost, empty, anxious, then you've just discovered who's been running your life. You could be wearing an Armani suit, driving the latest Mercedes, using a $10,000 phone, but if you still wake up feeling empty, if you're still afraid someone might see through to who you really are, then everything you're putting on is just an expensive disguise for a failure, wrapped in money. Society has poisoned you with a warped definition of success, that it means owning a house, a car, designer brands, luxury vacations, that your worth rises and falls with your possessions, not with who you become. So you start playing a game where you're always chasing, a race with no finish line. You buy the gold-plated watch today, tomorrow it has to be a diamond ring, then a penthouse to feel worthy. You can't win a game that was built to make you feel behind. But if you pause for a second and ask, if I lost everything, what would I still have? That's the question that measures your real value. Your personal value isn't in what you have, but in how you live when you have nothing. A real man doesn't need logos to prove himself, doesn't need a crowd to validate his worth. He stands on his own feet, with principles, with discipline, with the ability to stay grounded in a chaotic world. He can eat at a hole-in-the-wall diner, wear a faded t-shirt, and still carry the presence of a man in control. Not because he can't afford more, but because he doesn't need more to feel worthy. Success isn't about being ahead of others. Success is about not needing to run to be accepted. Success is walking your own path, even if no one claps, no one watches, no one approves. A truly successful man has nothing to hide because he's not afraid of being seen for who he really is. Want to redefine success? Start by rejecting the old definition. Dismiss the hollow compliments. Be willing to fail in the public eye if it means staying true to yourself. Work, learn, sharpen yourself. Not to be admired, but to be strong. When that happens, you no longer need to show your value. Your silence, your calm, your discipline, they speak for you, louder than anything you could ever buy. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you find this video helpful. It's the best way to support me in creating more valuable content. Every time you swipe that card, you're signing a contract to give up a piece of your freedom. No one tells you this, because nobody profits from a man who can control his impulses. But it's the truth. You don't pay for things with money. You pay with your life. And time is the one currency you can't earn back. You work 8 hours a day, 5-6 days a week to make money. Then you use that money to buy things you believe will make you happy. But let's do a simple equation. You earn $4,000 a month. After taxes, that's around $3,000. The phone you just bought cost $1,500. That means you traded 2 weeks of your life for a device you'll leave on your desk in a few months. And if you bought it on credit, even worse. Now you're not just losing freedom, you're dragging around debt like a chain strapped to your ankle. Freedom isn't being able to spend whatever you want. Freedom is not being controlled by anything. It's being content without having to buy. Every purchase isn't just a financial transaction. It's a psychological contract. You buy the shoes, now you feel obligated to wear them so they're worth it. You get the new car, now you have to act like the man who drives that car. You buy the big house, and suddenly you're shackled to all the responsibilities that come with it. You're no longer the owner, you've become the servant. A wise man isn't the one who makes the most money. He's the one who spends the least on things that don't matter. Not because he's stingy, but because he understands that every dollar spent is a piece of life given away. And life is shorter than you think. The solution isn't to live miserably or give up every pleasure. It's to recognize the real cost of your choices. Every time you're about to spend, ask yourself, am I willing to trade time, energy, and freedom for this? If the answer is no, walk away. Not because you're poor, but because you're choosing freedom over slavery. Here's the truth. Men don't become powerful by what they own. They become powerful by what they can walk away from. The ability to say no, to need less, to live simply, and remain in control. That's the highest form of freedom. Don't confuse ownership with control. You might have your name on the deed, the car title in your drawer, but if your mind is ruled by the fear of losing those things, you've never truly owned them. You're just a nervous caretaker, trembling with the anxiety of loss. So how do you escape this chokehold? Not by throwing everything away and living like a monk, but by resetting the relationship between you and material things. You don't have to hate money or possessions, but you damn well better know their place. They are tools, not your identity. Means, not the end. Start with a simple question. Do I really need this? But answer it with brutal honesty, not with the high of the moment, with the logic of a man who understands the cost of every choice. If what you're about to buy doesn't make you stronger, deeper, freer, don't buy it. Let every single thing you allow into your life serve your evolution, not the other way around. Next comes the rule of removal. Once a year, look around your home. Ask of every item, does this still move me forward? If it doesn't, let it go. No guilt. No what if I need it someday. The price of holding on to useless things is your space, your time, and your mental clarity. A Stoic man lives with less, not because he lacks, but because he refuses to let excess control his life. And for the things you do keep, use them like a true master. Not to flex, not to impress, but to serve a purpose. Your car should get you where you need to go, not be something others admire as you drive by. Your watch should remind you time is precious, not prove your status. Finally, build your muscle for saying no. No to false pride, no to comparison, no to the pressure to keep up. A man's real power isn't in what he can buy, it's in what he can walk away from. When you're no longer ruled by what you own, you'll realize one thing. Freedom isn't about having everything, it's about needing nothing. You can keep blaming society, consumer culture, your parents, your wife, your kids, your coworkers, advertising, TikTok. But at the end of the day, you are the one swiping the card. You are the one locking yourself inside the golden cage. No one forced you to spend recklessly. No one forced you to define yourself by the logo on your chest or the badge on your car. You chose that because you're afraid of one brutal truth. When all the status is stripped away, you don't know who the hell you are. There's not a single item on this planet that will make you a better man, more resilient, more grounded, more worthy. Everything you need to be strong is already inside you. But it's buried under layers of designer crap, impulse buys, and sleepless nights worrying about bills. You don't need more. You need less. I'm not saying you have to live poor, wear rags, or give up comfort. I'm saying this: if you can't live simply and still feel valuable, then you never had any real value to begin with. If your confidence disappears the moment you're not driving an expensive car, then it was never confidence, it was a rental. And sooner or later, that lease runs out. A man of real worth doesn't try to impress. He doesn't live for applause. He lives in a way he can admire himself. No spotlights, no cheers. Just a quiet certainty that his value lies in what no one can take away. His logic, his discipline, his presence. Those things aren't bought, they're earned. So here's the challenge. Walk into your house, open your closet, look at every item and ask, does this make me stronger? If not, let it go. Learn to live light. Learn to say no. Learn to not need, not for morality, for power. Because when you stop fearing lack, you become the kind of man no one can control. You can keep running, keep buying, keep masking your fragile self-worth with shiny toys. Or you can stop. Look in the mirror and rebuild yourself from the inside without a credit card. This world won't stop spinning while you figure your shit out. Either you take control or you get dragged along the conveyor belt of consumerism until you collapse, still wondering what the hell you lived for. The choice is yours. But remember, choosing nothing is a choice. And it's usually the worst one. Thank you for being here. If you found this video helpful, subscribe, turn on notifications, and like this video. Don't forget to leave a comment so we can spread positivity together.